Hey everybody, welcome back. This is HD, and it's time to finish up the series between Socke and Axslav here. This is the third game, the final game in the round of 8 between these two players, and it looks like they have both decided to play on Shatter Temple, or at least Axslav has chosen, as it is the loser's pick. Not going to talk too much about this map. It's pretty standard, pretty balanced, the remake of Lost Temple, and really that's all there is to say about that. Now, I just want to remind you guys that the prize pool is $1,000 for first place of this tournament, $500 for second, and $250 for the runner-up third. And I guess that's enough money to buy yourself a PlayStation 3? I don't know how much a PlayStation is these days, or PlayStation 3. I'm a computer gamer. I'm not a console gamer, so... anyways, getting back to this game at hand, PvP as always. Socke will be the blue Protoss, and Axslav will be the red Protoss. And they have spawned cross-spawn. Now, the map here is actually not the MLG version, I believe. I actually asked the players to play on the standard map, which was the ladder map version. So they can spawn close spawn, but they have spawned cross-spawn. Axslav gonna be moving out with his probe here, and same situation here for Socke after throwing down his gateway just moments after Axslav's gateway. And both these players are gonna be immediately doing their scouting duty. Socke asking, this is no close? Axslav answering, this is not close spawn, confirming to him that this is the original Shatter Temple, not the remake by MLG. Now, I just want to say that I was a little bit excited to possibly see a cheese between these two players. You always gotta keep in mind that in a tournament game, cheese is possible, but I'm a little bit sad now that it looks like these players are gonna play the same exact build they did in game 1 and 2, getting their gateway down, getting their assimilator. Socke here not doing the good old hide the gateway like in the corner of his base once again. And Axslav is gonna get his scout in. He sees everything looking pretty standard. Gateway, cybernetics core, assimilator. Back over to Axslav's base. Gateway, cybernetics core, assimilator. And both these players just doing their due diligence as they do that scouting. Now, last game we did see Socke do the 4-gate to great effect, and he actually transitioned off the 4-gate into Blink Stalkers. Now that's a transition I can agree with. Unlike in game 1 where where Socke decided to go for the gateway attack and then transition into Blink and then also transition into Colossus, that is just a little bit too much. But I do agree with one base going for Blink Stalkers off of your 4-gate. It's a very powerful transition because you've already got the same exact tech tree going. Now you gotta wonder, is Socke gonna do the same thing? Is he gonna do 4-gate? And is Axslav gonna try some kind of 4-gate stuff? We haven't seen him 4-gate yet as of this series. And as always, 4-gate is a very powerful strategy. It looks like Axslav here gonna go ahead and steal the gas. A little annoying for this Zealot. Obviously doesn't want to be wailing away at an assimilator all day long, but he will be attacking the assimilator for quite a long time. One interesting thing to note is simulators actually have double the life of refineries and extractors. Someone who programmed the gas, obviously a Protoss fan. And it looks like Socke here is going to be a little bit... The thing here about stealing the gas is it's nice for Axslav because it forces Socke into more of a less gas intensive strategy. You can't go for early robotics facility. You can't really go for an early Twilight Council. So you're kind of forced into going for a gateway heavy build or some kind of a Nexus Expo. So that's nice for Axslav. Axslav here actually catching a Stalker at the center of the map here with his 2 Stalkers as he's pushing out, and very similar as to game number 2 where Axslav made this kind of aggressive push with early Stalkers, and it looks like he's gonna just control the Xel'Naga Watchtower for now and eventually push into Socke. And now it looks like Socke will be throwing up a Nexus, so going 3-gate Nexus, and that's really because Socke was not able to get this extra assimilator down, so he was forced into more of a defensive build, also getting the Forge down as you guys can see on the production tab, so he will probably be throwing up some cannons at his front door, also getting +1 weapons most likely. Socke here has more Stalkers than Axslav, will be forcing those 3 Stalkers back to the Xel'Naga and back all the way to the natural. Socke really has more of a stalker army right now, and this is surprising considering the fact that he invested 400 minerals into a Nexus. So really interesting here. I guess that's because Axslav has gotten a robotics facility. He's gone 2-gate robo, which has kind of hindered 3-gate robo, excuse me, so which kind of hinders his army a little bit until he can get that immortal out. And this has kind of been the name of the game in this series. Axslav really loves his immortals, man, and he really tries to get that robotics facility out ASAP, and that does leave him vulnerable to early gateway attacks, and that's why he lost game number 2 in my opinion, and almost taking some serious damage in game number 3 here, even though Socke spent 400 minerals into a Nexus. Now, Socke obviously never committing to that attack. He was just kind of pushing out a little bit so he could safely grab this expansion, and now grabbing a photon cannon as well. So Socke now knows if he can hold on to this location for the longer the better, really, then he's going to have a bigger and better advantage as his economy rolls and rolls bigger and bigger, brings in more income, rakes in the dough, and transitions, and of course outputs itself into more zealots, more stalkers, more upgrades. And Axslav knows that. He's coming in here with his obs. He sees, okay, Forge ticking away. He already saw the pylon and the cannon up here, so he knows that Socke has his expo, and immediately Axslav grabbing his own expo as well, and it almost looks like Axslav is gonna try to go for a double expand. Wow, thinking that he is behind, and absolutely he is. He's gonna go for a double expand with a quick tech into Colossus. Now I do like this, but it leaves him vulnerable to Socke if Socke decides to attack. So really kind of eco-cheesing just a tad by going for this bold double expansion. And is he going to throw the Nexus down? If he does, that would certainly be what I'm expecting him to do, because he knows he is behind a little bit in economy. Socke now moving out across the map with a pretty large army of stalkers, and it looks like Axslav sees that, so Axslav will not be able to grab this gold expansion, not anytime soon. He knows Socke is itching to go out with his stalkers and do some damage, and that's just too risky to grab the double expansion. Even though the rocks are down at the gold, even though everything's set and prepped, it's just way too risky to grab that gold right now. And he has observers all across the center of the map to see this impending attack right here. Very large army of stalker and zealots coming in. +1 weapons has now finished, and it's a ton of warp gates being chrono boosted right now. All 5 warp gates being chrono boosted. Socke is actually making a very interesting timing attack here. Axslav thinking that Socke was just gonna play standard macro, and then Socke has been saving up, energy on both of his Nexuses, or Nexi, I guess you could call it Nexus, Nexi, so he could make this timing attack, chrono boost all 5 of his warp gates, and now he's got a gigumongous army outside of Axslav's natural 84 to 81 supply. This is gonna be pretty bad for Axslav. Luckily, Axslav does have immortals. Socke does not have blink, so that is gonna help. The force fields will be able to keep the stalkers away, not really splitting the army in half, and Axslav now moving down to the south so that he can attack one side of the concave rather than attacking the entire concave as a whole. But Axslav still getting out attacked, I think, by Socke. Socke, keep in mind, has those +1 weapons really coming in handy. Stalkers now focus firing down the immortal, and Axslav may lose to a beautifully orchestrated timing attack by Socke. And now Probe's pulling off the mineral line, and you know when Probe's coming off the mineral line against this many stalkers and zealots, you know that is a desperate situation. Socke here almost certainly going to take this game and move on to the semifinals at this point. One lone immortal walks down the ramp, says, "I can do it, guys, let me save you guys." But that is not going to be the case, and Axslav is going to GG out of this game. Well played by both these players, and what a great timing attack by Socke. I love the quintupled chrono boosted warp gates. Obviously, Socke had been saving up energy on both of his Nexuses, so he was going for this timing attack. He was waiting and biding his time. He was counting on the fact that Axslav would be probing up, would be getting Nexus down, and he just made his attack happen. And if we look at the probe count, really, Socke never had that many probes. He just had 35 the entire game. So that just shows that that he had cut his entire probe production, and he was making this attack pretty much a semi all-in, I would say. So really nice play right there. And Axslav is knocked out of this tournament, ladies and gentlemen. Socke moving on to the round of 4. That's the semifinals. So Thanks a lot for staying tuned, guys. The next games in the round of 8 will be coming up really shortly, and I do have some other games I'll be posting as well. These are games for a different tournament. I'll be making an announcement about that very shortly. So stay tuned, guys. Thanks a lot for subscribing, and thanks so much for all your support. HD signing out.